Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about a very quick topic that has been in the news lately regarding the real estate industry. And I read from CNN Business. It says the nation's largest credit union rejected more than half its black conventional mortgage applicants. And we're going to dive in a little deeper on that, but this is unethical if that's true. Before we get into that, let's look at the Federal Fair Housing Act of 1968, right? It says the 1968 Act expanded on previous acts and prohibited discrimination concerning the sale, rental, and financing of housing based on race, religion, national origin, sex, and as amended, handicap and familial status, right? So familial status or family status, whether you're a single mother, whether you're married with no kids, things of that nature, right? So Title V of the Act is also known as the Fair Housing Act of 1968, okay? And let's just read a little bit more about federal fair housing protected classes, or at least what they are. It says Fair Housing Act prohibits housing discrimination against person who falls in any of the following 7 groups. Anyone treated unfairly because of their race, color, religion, national origin, sex, families with children, and people with disabilities, handicap, right? So let's dive into this article and we'll discuss it a little bit later. It says Navy Federal Credit Union denied over 50% of black loan applicants in 2022. According to CNN, the largest credit union in the United States has the widest disparity in mortgage approval rates between whites, black, of any major lender, a trend that reached new heights last year, as CNN analysis found. So we are talking about the Bank of America's, the Wells Fargo's, all the big lenders in terms of whole home mortgages. Navy Federal Credit Union is the largest credit union. It's out of Virginia. If you know the Norfolk naval base is there, you know the shipyard, they make a lot of ships over there. So the credit union served that community initially, then it kind of grew. It's very large in the area I'm at. There are like 3 or 4 branches within 10 miles of where I'm from, at least 10 to 15 miles of where I'm from. Navy Federal is all over, and they also do a lot of affiliate banking with other credit unions, because you know credit unions may not have multiple locations. So what Navy Federal is sometimes good at is they partner with other smaller credit unions. So I'm a member of another credit union, for instance. I always go to Navy Federal because they accept the credit union I'm at. It says Navy Federal Credit Union, which lends to military service members and veterans, approved more than 75% of white borrowers who applied for new conventional home purchases in 2022, according to the most recent data available from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. But less than 50% of black borrowers who applied for the same type of loan were approved. While many banks also approved white applicants at higher rates than black borrowers, the nearly 29% point gap in Navy Federal's approval rate was the widest of any of the 50 lenders that originated the most mortgage loans last year. So out of the top 50 banks all across the country, the gap in Navy Federal, the disparity is just larger than all of them. And then there's a video, I'll probably put it in the link down in the description below, where I think a CEO or somebody was interviewed. He was African American, I believe. Bob Otondi, a black business owner in Texas. Well, he's a black business owner who was denied a mortgage by Navy Federal in 2021 and then approved by another lender in about 2 weeks, said the rejection didn't make any sense at all. So I believe when I watched the video, it was either like one of the top banks that gave him a loan instantly. Pretty much, he has enough money, he makes enough, he's a business owner, and another bank just kind of gave him a loan, seeing that he was credit worthy, while Navy Federal denied him. It says, I don't want to read the whole article. I'll put a link in the description below to it. I'm just trying to pick through key pointers here. Let's see. The disparity remains even among white and black applicants who had similar incomes and debt to income ratio. Notably, Navy Federal approved a slightly higher percent of applications from white borrowers making less than $62,000 a year than it did from black borrowers making $140,000 $60,000 or more. So that is eye-opening right there. According to this article, not even an article, according to the stats that was derived from, what was it called? The federal, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So they gather stats on banks. So you got these organizations that track lending. You know, you got RESPA. These are all different laws, but then you got federal bodies that kind of look at all these. So for RESPA, for instance, looks at, you got to disclose everything that is going to be in the closing cost. So RESPA kind of manages the closing costs. So you have different things that were put in place so people don't get robbed at closing, people don't get unfair rejections. So for instance, this is saying that if you're a Caucasian person making $62,000 and you have the same credit score and debt to income ratio, meaning how much you owe to how much you actually take home from your income, and you subtract all your bills, all your debt, you know, what's left over for you. If you're on the same bracket as an African American who makes $140,000 a year, that's double the ones I'm in the 62 grand from a Caucasian. They're saying Navy Federal will more likely grant a home loan to that white person that makes 62 grand with, let's say, a 750 credit score than they would to a black person who makes 140,000 with a 750 credit score. It says a deeper statistical analysis performed by CNN found that black applicants to Navy Federal were more than twice as likely to be denied as white applicants, even when more than a dozen different variables, including income, debt to income ratio, property value, down payment percentage, and neighborhood characteristics were the same. So all things being equal, they're saying the only difference why somebody would be denied in this case was race. That's what the accusations and the numbers are saying about Navy Federal's lending practices, especially in 2022. It says, this is now the business owner, Bob Otondi, I believe. I thought it could have been racial discrimination, he told CNN, but I could never prove it. All right. In total, the credit union rejected about 3,700 black applicants for home purchase mortgages last year, potentially blocking them from home ownership just as interest rates spiked. And Navy Federal also approved Latino borrowers at a significantly lower rate than white borrowers. So it's not only a black or white thing, they're also saying that Hispanics also got approved at a significantly lower rate. So in essence, what the federal fair housing laws were put in place to do was to just make it where the color of your skin doesn't dictate whether you can purchase a home, what neighborhood you can move to, things of that nature. That's why the laws were put in place. The only deciding factor was your income, your credit, possible criminal history, because if you commit certain offenses, those things will raise eyebrows. For instance, sex offenders got to register where things happen. There are certain things you cannot ask for as a lender or a home buyer as a realtor. For instance, if a murder happened in the house, that's not up to you to disclose. If a suicide happened in that house, you shouldn't disclose. You just got to check with your local county laws, because I know in DC, for instance, if somebody had a immune deficiency virus, you can't disclose that, right? As long as whatever disease they had is not transmittable just by you purchasing the house, it's none of your business to disclose. So there are certain things that can't be disclosed, but criminal records, I think, based on the crime committed, may not be a good thing for somebody who's looking to buy a house. So other than like criminal record or income and just the classes that we read already, they shouldn't stop you from getting a house based on your color, your race, your national origin, your familial status, and things of that nature, whether you're handicapped or not. It says, by some measures, Navy Federal has been successful at lending to minority borrowers. It's kind of strange to me a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, because I lived in Prince George's County for an extended period of time, and it was at the time the richest black county in America for a long time, for over 2-3 decades. It just got surpassed by Charles County now. Charles County is now the richest black county, quote unquote. And you got a ton of Navy Federal branches there. A lot of African Americans and black people go there all the time. And you wouldn't tell, but based on that is not enough. That's why these laws and these bureaus were put in place to gather numbers and read through them and then decide and see what banks are being fair and what banks are not. It says experts in mortgage lending and advocates for fair housing said that the racial gaps in Navy Federal's approval rates were surprisingly large and raised questions about the institution's lending practices. Lisa Rice, the president and CEO of the National Fair Housing Alliance, an advocacy group, said the racial gaps in Navy Federal lending identified by CNN was some of the largest I've ever seen. That's what she claims right here. Let me see if Navy Federal said anything. It keeps going more into this gentleman, and okay, the guy felt heartbroken and he was stunned because he got rejected, and he says Bob Otondi's realtor, Angela Crisini, I believe, connected him with another mortgage lender who approved his loan in about 2 weeks. And the purchase went through. So he was trying to buy the house, couldn't finance the loan. Then his realtor gave him another company to go with, and he went through. Then there's a disclaimer here from CNN. It says CNN's analysis doesn't prove that Navy Federal discriminated against any borrowers, but it does show significant disparities in the credit union's approval rates and borrowers of different races. It says CNN's analysis doesn't prove that Navy Federal discriminated against any borrowers. They have to give that disclaimer. They're not saying categorically they are discriminating. It says, but it shows significant disparities in the credit union's approval rates for borrowers of different races, and that it has a larger racial gaps than many other large financial institutions. In other words, CNN is kind of being careful not to get hit with some kind of lawsuit, but they just saying men lie, women lie, numbers don't. We're not saying you discriminating, but your numbers are saying there's a gap in between your approval rate for certain races, right? In 2022, according to the data, Navy Federal approved 77.1% of whites, 55.8% of Latinos, and 48.5% black applicants. The 28.6% point gap difference between black and white applicants was by far the largest gap. We already talked about that. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you found it informative. My contact information is in the description below. Send me a text or an email because I'd love to help you with your real estate needs. Well, I find this interesting when you think about all the laws that were passed to like kind of keep all the redlining or just to give everybody a fair shot at home ownership. And it's pretty unfortunate if it's true because right now the interest rates are high. Not too many people are qualifying for home loans. So just imagine somebody such as the gentleman who was a business owner. You know, you've built your credit, you've earned enough. Just looking at the numbers, you made it to where you earn over $140,000. You got good credit and you can't get the loan needed. Just, you know, it can't be proven, but based on what we're seeing is like that's unfortunate, especially now when good buyers are hard to find. People want to buy houses, but let me not say good buyers, qualified buyers are hard to find. So it's kind of strange when a qualified buyer earning a lot cannot get a loan. You know, you would think to just be fair, you got to know banks. This is a 30-year loan they're giving out. We're not too far removed from the housing bubble when they were giving subprime mortgages all over the places, and a lot of foreclosures happen. Let's just say this: when interest rates are high, banks are tighter on their underwriting, right? Because they don't want to give a loan to somebody who's not going to be able to pay it, that's going to foreclose, right? But now the numbers are just saying some of these people, it seems as though all things being equal, if you were not to look at the race of the person, let's say you don't check in a box of your race on the application, and based on your name, you just put John Doe on both applicants, 9 times out of 10, the person making $140,000 would be approved faster than the person making 60 grand. But now when they read Bob Otondi and they read another name, and then they get to see black, white, and then they make a decision to go with the person that's not black black is what this is saying. Well, it's unfortunate, and that's what's going on in the real estate industry right now. And we'll keep an eye on this story to see if Navy Federal comes with a rebuttal or an explanation as to why this is happening. You know, it's like I said, it's a big credit union. They got a lot of commercials, a lot of servicemen and women and their families are part of Navy Federal. So you would just think with all of that, it would be fair across the board. Anyway, hope that was good. Leave a comment down below if you faced anything like this, if you've applied for a loan and funny things happen that you just, like this gentleman here is saying, he just had a feeling but he couldn't prove it, right? Share your story in the comment section and let's have a discussion. Thank you.